Eric
Six.
Sermon from Ghana said, "What's up?" He said, "Ghana's in the building. How y'all doing?" My question is, Coop got Illidef Half Life in the background. Wasn't their sophomore album "Do You Want More" and their first album "Organics"? I'm just asking.
No, correct. Philadelphia Half Life is the third album. If you know their catalog, They released Organics independently in 1991. I believe "Past the Popcorn" was the famous single off of that. They first made their inroads on "Do You Want More," which is their second album released in '94 with "Proceed." I shall
Well, that kind of
proceed.
brings me to a side conversation that we were having offline. What do you think is the biggest jump from one hip hop album to another? And usually that jump happens from debut to sophomore album.
I told you it's still that Juvenile Hell to the Infamous jump because the Juvenile Hell album is not a top 200 rap album. But the Infamous is a borderline top 10 rap album in a lot of people's top five, and in a whole lot more people's top 10. And that's an easy top 20. That's one of those easy top 20 rap albums. That's one of those things is like if the Infamous isn't in your top 20, I'd be looking at you. It's like, well, how do you feel about rap, really, nigga?
I lean more towards the Fuji's jump from Blunted Off Reality to the score. And a million different facets why. Because, I mean, we saw the potential in Lauren and I guess Clef in a couple of songs here and there, like Mona Lisa or whatever. But the score, man, that shit was a whole different animal. And I get it, you're right. The Infamous, they're a whole different group too. But I don't know, man. It's something about that score jump. Not to mention that they sold hella records off of it. I think the score is the second highest selling hip hop album of all time. Um,
No, there's probably like five Eminem albums that have sold more than the score at this point, but probably at the time. You're
no,
probably
I
talking about
looked
what
it
had
up,
happened at
man.
the
I
time when
looked
it
it up
came out.
recently actually because I was looking up the Eminem show's numbers, and when I found out that the Eminem show sold the most, I think it sold 27 million, and I think the score did 22, 25, something like that.
Oh, you're talking worldwide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm talking
Like
worldwide.
domestically, the year the score came out, it didn't even outsell All Eyes on Me.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Yeah, I think that, and that's the magic of an album like the score. I don't know, man.
oh,
I turned into a Fuji fan. I remember when the score dropped and I saw Fuji live. I had heard them before, but this was different. Like this jump was humongous, and mostly the jump really pertained to Lauren and Clef, and made them individual superstars too.
speaking of which, here's the thing with it. It's like the score is beautiful. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great album. The score is not remembered in hip hop culture the way the Infamous is, and that's why the jump's not as big. Is because niggas aren't walking around like singing the verses to Fuji La. They're not. They walk around and sing the verses to Give Up the Goods, Survival of the Fittest, Shook One's Part 2, Trife Life, Right Back at You, Temperatures Rising, Start of Your Ending. It's too much heat on there, like for this conversation. So even if blunted on reality, this is where I'm talking about it becomes a hip hop conversation about the hip hop thing. Because if you really talk about the score, Mike, what really blew the score up is a Roberta Flack cover, and that's not hip hop.
I'm not mad at that assertion. I think that's what blew it up to that degree where I'm talking about where they sold so much, and the
Yeah.
whole "No Woman No Cry" too. But Ready or Not's big.
Hold
Fuji
on. How
Live
about
might not
this?
have been that big,
Here,
but
here,
Ready or Not's
here.
big.
No, Ready or Not is big, but what I would submit to you is that okay, so Ready or Not is probably the best pure hip hop song on that album. That's an all time great hip hop song, wouldn't you say?
I think so too. How many mics? I love
How many mics?
Cowboys.
Hold on. I'm saying all time great, as in if let's say we were making a list of let's say 500 greatest rap songs. Do you think that how many mics would be on there? 500.
No, no. I think Fuji Live's a better record than Ready or Not. I think is probably the better record, but I think they just
Yes.
played it so much that
Right.
I'm more of a fan personally of Fuji Live.
Of Fuji La, right. So let's take both of those records, Mike. And it's like, well, what if I were to tell you that it's like, well, let's scratch those records off and you can take Survival of the Fittest and Give Up the Goods. Guess what I still got, Mike?
What Shook One's Part Two?
I still got Shook One's Part 2. What you got? You feel me? That's why that's why the score's not fucking with the Infamous like on a rap level,
Some
like
of the
on a
jumps
pure
that I
rap
see in
level.
the chat are life as ready to die to life after death. What do you think about that jump?
If you want to talk about the MC,
Okay.
but this is what I'm saying.
Can I
I
borrow a
can't see.
dollar to
No,
Resurrection?
Can I Borrow a Dollar? Resurrection is a super valid one. I mean, I have Life After Death at number 7 and Ready to Die at 12. How can I call it a jump?
I think that I'm serious to trap music's a big jump. I think that 500 Degrees to the Carter is a big jump.
There's
Um,
some question marks in that jump.
there's some question marks in that jump, and I agree with that. Let's see. I'm trying to see some other ones that people got in the chat. Oh, somebody said a good one with Tupac, with Me Against the World. That was a big
But
jump
strictly for
from.
my niggas to me against my world.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think you want to know. I think he just rounded in the form with his songwriting structure. Like I think it just came together. The first 2 albums, he's still putting it together, and I just think it came together finally because you can hear traces of it. It's like how about this? It's like on the first album you see a flash of it. On
Hmm.
the second album you see big bright flashes of it multiple times. It's like the third time around, it's like boom, there it is.
You know what? I will give you guys the Infamous because people view the Infamous as their first album. Oh, if we're gonna do that, what about the Jizz's jump?
What from Words from the Genius?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
To
so
Liquid
I would say that
Swords.
too. So here's what I would tell you about that is that you know that the original Shook Ones is on Juvenile Hell, right?
Right.
You know the original Killer Hills 10304 is from on Words from the Genius, Life of a Drug Dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go listen to Killer Hills 10304. Go listen to Life of a Drug Dealer and understand that Jizz has always been fucking
Of
dope.
course, he's always been dope, but well, yeah.
No, 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 no,
So it's
no.
not
No,
his
no, no.
jump; it's
No, no, no.
everybody
No, no,
else's
no.
jump.
Prodigy and Havoc are not dope on Juvenile Hell. On listen to what I'm saying. And just about that record, on Life of the Drug Dealer, off Words from the Genius.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is. That's the genius.
Have you ever heard
You hear it.
TLC's "What About Your Friends" remix? Like the first time the Outkast got on the mic,
Yeah,
it's whack.
terrible.
It's
It's terrible.
awful.
It's terrible.
It's
But you want to know
terrible.
what I was thinking about? And somebody posted in the chat, and this is one of Andre's best verses. Something wicked this way comes.
Yeah.
Remember the only signs that we had was, remember back in the times when the only sign we had was picket, but
Yeah.
back in 94 it'd be this way, something come wicked, G-Angs, killing others for colors, things that we wear for fashion, other brothers take it for a reason to be blasting, what the cuff is going on, not soft like buttercups, but had enough of singing that same song, see I stayed across the street from the projects, took out your mama trash and groceries to her trunk to keep my pockets, fat like cellulite, only went to jail 1 week for some shul bit, and I pray to God I won't repeat. I should have pulled it when I had the chance to. No, I
That's that
shouldn't
poetry
do that.
slam,
Because if I did
Andre.
that, y'all would not hear that. That shit that keeps you on your tippy. Toes
Totally.
like that sellout. Not calling no name, but really, who's bad?
Yeah,
Dre
I
used
don't.
to
I
talk
don't
shit
like
about
Drake.
Michael Jackson.
I don't like Dre throwing shots at Michael Jackson, but
I
whatever.
go through obstacles like a whole box of condoms. You can't forget where you come from. Listen to what he said at the end. I go through obstacles like a whole box of condoms. You can't forget where you come from. Isn't that irony? People got to be careful about what they say out here. There might be somebody that's a fan of yours still listening.
This is true. And again, this is a young Andre. Well, all right, the whole picture here, right? The first artist signed to LaFace Records was Jermaine Jackson. The first single that they put out on LaFace Records was Jermaine Jackson's diss record and Michael Jackson, Word to the Bad. Who's on that song? TLC. Yeah. And so then you got this where, Dre is throwing shots at a super duper star in Michael Jackson, the biggest artist ever, the biggest artist on earth, not knowing that he's going to become a very big artist himself, and not knowing all of those things that come with becoming a huge artist, and throwing all kind of,
Now,
assertions.
no, hold on.
And
Now listen to this. This is what I'm about to say. That's what's so beautiful about this verse. Now look at how he has fleed from fame, and he's never even sniffed a tenth of what it's like to be in Michael Jackson's stratosphere about fame. He couldn't even handle his level of Southern fame.
Exactly. I ran
Gotta be
from
careful
it.
about what you say. Gotta be careful about what you say out here in these
Yeah,
streets.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the funny thing about when you say things on this microphone, and even when we say things on this microphone, it doesn't go away. It stays.
Especially with these people, because
It's
I
here.
wake up every day and they remind me of something that I said. Every day they remind me of something that I said. Be like, no, 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 Coop. Remember when you had said?
Right. Man Nan says that Heavy D, Nothing But Love, and Blue Funk is underrated. Speaking of underrated albums, man, I was riding around listening to Snoop Dogg's Top Dog album, which was his fourth album. Damn, I forget about Dogfather. I try to forget. But his second No Limit album. And I think that Top Dog is super underappreciated. That whole resurgence of the West Coast sonically that we were getting into when 2001 was about to come out, it all starts with Top Dog.
Right.
And the way that Snoop was rapping on there, honestly, you know what? I got to give Snoop a lot of credit too. To have the presence of mind to even go to No Limit at a time like that, this is Snoop Doggy Dogg, right?
Right.
Anybody would have signed Snoop. But to actually go to No Limit and really be able to make the best of it and kind of use that momentum from No Limit to really bring the West Coast back in a whole nother facet, I think is very dope. And you hear all of those things on Top Dog. And he's rapping his ass off on Top Dog. And you know what? When Top Dog came out back then, I didn't buy it. I didn't listen to it.
None of us did.
Yeah, and listening to it now, I'm like, I really slept on Top Dog.
I still think it's his fourth best album, Mike. I still think Rhythm and Gangsta and the Blue Carpet Treatment are better. I think they're just better songs on there than the songs on Top Dog. But
You're big on the Blue Carpet Treatment. I hadn't listened to that album in a minute, but based on where I'm at now,
no.
I'm
The
going
Blue Carpet
third.
Treatment. Hold on, the beginning, the Blue Carpet Treatment. Think about it. That's one of Snoop's best lyrical performances. Actually, that's actually one of Snoop's best MC performances, like on the mic. You know what I mean? A lot of people talk about it. It's like, well, Snoop don't really spit no bars. No, think about it as him spitting bars. He's got Vato
I like
with
Vato.
B-Real. Yeah, Vato's on there. Candy with E40's on there.
Mm-hmm.
The joint with Game on there, the Gang Banging 101 with Game is on there.
Isn't
The
the R.
Imagine
Kelly
joint
song
produced
the
by
lead
Dr.
single?
Dre with D'Angelo is on there.
Yeah.
What else? That's that shit with R.
Yeah.
Kelly, unfortunately, is on there. R. Kelly's still a nasty bastard. You know,
He's a
you know what I
genius,
hope
though.
they're doing
It
to
is
R.
what it
Kelly.
is in the music.
Hold on. What else is on there? There's all types of stuff on there. The Blue Carpet Treatment is the shit. You want to know what? Crazy on there with Nate Dogg. That's one of Nate Dogg's last real hook performances, Mike, and it's great. These streets be... Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says 500 degrees to the Carter 1 as far as a rap jump. Yes.
Like I said, there's some questions around that rap jump, though.
Yeah, there are some questions around. A questionable pen going on. I will say.
Hey,
that.
Mike.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get out of here in like 15 minutes. So you want to go through the rest of these singles?
Let's go through the rest of these singles. I want to go through some of these super chats before we close up. Andre Shashir says, off topic, one of y'all say mic performance, break down exactly the characteristics of it. Man there with the super chat says LL Cool J's improvement from radio to bad is up there. Okay. I can run with that.